Hello, my friends, hello, and welcome once again to stately Von Manor, where Roger and I have returned to talk about Howard Andrew Jones. Howard Andrew Jones, the author of Lord of a Shattered Land, the first book in the Chronicles of Hanuvar. So far, there have been 3 books in the Chronicles of Hanuvar. 2 of them are already out. The third one should be available early October. I've read all 3 books. They're all fantastic. It's great sword and sorcery fiction, just magnificent stuff. I highly recommend it. But he's done a lot besides the Hanuvar books. You know, sword and sorcery is my favorite subgenre. And Howard Andrew Jones has done a lot for it. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that. Howard Andrew Jones and his work. A couple days ago, Howard Andrew Jones released a public statement telling us that he has been diagnosed with brain cancer, terminal brain cancer, which is devastating news, shocking and terrible news. And just recently, I've been thinking a lot about Howard Andrew Jones and his Hanuvar series because I just recently finished the 3rd book in the series, the one that's going to be coming out in early October, which was great. It was great. And I was thinking about how he might finish up the series. Originally, it was thought to be he planned on it being a 5-book series. And I was wondering what kinds of things he might write in the future after these books were finished. He's such a talent, you know. I was really looking forward to what might be coming next. But unfortunately, it looks like his career is coming to a close. I don't know how much time he has left, but certainly he's going to have to decide how he's going to use it. And I'm not sure writing a bunch of fantasy fiction is high on the list of priorities. So we'll have to see. He has been working on the 4th book in the Hanuvar series. I don't know how far along he's gotten. I don't know if any of that will ever be published. I don't know. So it could be that this 3rd book in the Hanuvar series that's coming out in October, that might be the last one, which is unfortunate. Hanuvar, the character Hanuvar, who is based on Hannibal and exists in a fantasy world that is modeled after ancient Rome. Hanuvar, whose city has been destroyed by the Dervan Empire and whose people have been enslaved. His mission is to free all of his people. And he's been diligently working on that for all 3 of the Chronicles of Hanuvar. His work is unfinished. Unfortunately, the same can be said for Howard Andrew Jones. His work has been cut short. Fortunately, he's given us a lot as far as sword and sorcery and fantasy novels are concerned. He's given us some great books, and he's done some great things with sword and sorcery. This series, the Hanuvar series, has been his greatest success, I believe. And this book, Lord of a Shattered Land, is still fairly new. I think this came out last year, actually, in 2023. I'll double check that, but I think it just came out last year. Yeah, copyright 2023, Howard Andrew Jones. So, you know, this just came out in 2023. So did the 2nd book in the series, which is The City of Marble and Blood. Another great book. Did that come out last year or this year? Let me take a look. Yeah, this is also 23. So he had 2 books come out pretty quickly. Baen Books, the publisher of the Chronicles of Hanuvar, they really believed in this series. And so he's been working hard, Howard Andrew Jones, in getting these out. and it's just great stuff. This feels like very classic sword and sorcery in a way. They're basically the Chronicles of Hanuvar are shorter fiction, short stories that are linked together that tell one bigger story. And so every book is set up that way, where you have each chapter is basically its own story, and all together they make a bigger story. And each book ends with a very definite conclusion. And so it's possible we might see some more Hanuvar be published. I don't know if he's writing the Hanuvar Chronicles the same way now as he has been. That means they're written as short stories. So we might see a couple of those come out. Who knows? No idea. But certainly, this is a great series. The one that's going to be coming out, let's see if I could pull it up on my tablet. He sent me the ebook for it, which is awesome. Here we go. Yeah, Shadow of the Smoking Mountain. This is the one that will be coming out in October. It could be the best book of the series so far. It's great. And it has a suitably explosive ending. Fantastic book, which I highly recommend. And you should all buy it because it's great. So he's had some pretty great success with the Hanuvar series. But he's done some other stuff. One thing that he's done is he almost single-handedly renewed interest in the fiction of Harold Lamb, who was an adventure and historical writer who my favorite author, Robert E. Howard, really admired. He was one of Robert E. Howard's favorite writers. And Howard Andrew Jones edited 8 books of Harold Lamb's fiction. I think it was for the University of Nebraska Press. Unfortunately, I don't have any of them. Unfortunately. But he did a lot of work putting those out and renewing interest in Harold Lamb's fiction. I'll be talking more about Harold Lamb probably next year. He deserves it. He deserves to be talked about because that's a great writer. And Howard Andrew Jones, he put in a lot of work on that series of books. He is also editor of this fantastic magazine. This is Tales of the Magician's Skull. Tales of the Magician's Skull. This magazine's great. And I think in the earlier issues of Tales of the Magician's Skull, that's where some of the early Hanuvar stories were first published. So Hanuvar first appeared in Tales of the Magician's Skull, and so have a lot of other great sword and sorcery stories. If you could find any of these, pick them up. You can get some of them on Amazon, although they're starting to be a bit scarce, some of the back issues now. So get them while you can. They're awesome, great artwork, wonderful stories. Got the Magician's Skull there. Howard Andrew Jones used to talk to a skull to help him out with this magazine. That's kind of weird, but great magazine. Tales from the Magician's Skull. Highly recommend it. And he's also written a bunch of other stuff. One series of books I don't have. He wrote, I think, 4 novels based on the Pathfinder role-playing game. I think Pathfinder is a role-playing game. And he wrote 4 books about those, like set in that universe. And he also wrote some other books that I'm going to be starting to read next year, including this one, The Desert of Souls by Howard Andrew Jones. This is a fantasy adventure series that's sort of in the time period of the Arabian Nights, I believe. The glittering tradition of sword and sorcery sweeps into the sands of ancient Arabia with the heart-stopping speed of a whirling dervish in this thrilling debut novel from new talent Howard Andrew Jones. So this was back in 2011, I think, when this was published, The Desert of Souls. And it's supposed to be great. It's supposed to be a great book. I've heard a lot of good things about it. So this was his debut novel, apparently. He wrote another book in the series. This is The Bones of the Old Ones, The Bones of the Old Ones, which is the second book, from the Chronicles of Sword and Sand. There was a third book, I believe, which might be ebook only, which has some stories about the characters from these two novels. And I think that's available on Amazon, so you could look that up. I certainly recommend getting anything from Howard Andrew Jones. He also did this trilogy, the Ringsworn trilogy. This is For the Killing of Kings. And this was supposed to be a pretty good fantasy series, which I, like I said, have not read yet, but I will. So For the Killing of Kings, first book in the Ringsworn trilogy. We've got book 2, Upon the Flight of the Queen. Great cover. That's pretty awesome. And third book, When the Goddess Wakes. So I look forward to reading these. These look pretty awesome. So he's written quite a bit. That's all available out there for you to pick up, and I highly recommend you do. Excellent writer. I would probably start with Hanuvar. This is just such a magnificent series of sword and sorcery books. I would definitely probably pick these up first and then go back. That's the way I'm doing it. Just great books. And it's a shame that, we're not going to be able to see a bunch more from Howard Andrew Jones, but that's life. You never know. You never know about tomorrow. You never know how much time you've got. And the same can be said for our friends and our favorite writers and our favorite creators. You just never know. And this is shocking news and really sad news about Howard Andrew Jones. But we can feel fortunate for what we've gotten. And he's produced some great work. This is great stuff. Highly recommend it. Howard Andrew Jones. That's all I have to say, I think. I will catch you next time.